Pope Francis also marked the one-year anniversary of the deadly Lebanon blast that killed more than 200 people and injured thousands more. The blast at the port in Beirut was one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. It was the result of tons of ammonium nitrate igniting during a fire. The explosion was felt nearly 200 miles away, and today questions still remain. Lebanon is now in the midst of an unprecedented economic and humanitarian crisis. And joining us now is Sarah Bassil, Director of Communications and Outreach for In Defense of Christians. Sarah, so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on. As we mentioned, today marks a somber anniversary, 1 year since that deadly blast in Beirut. Let's go back to that day. What happened? And also, how did it impact you personally? I know you have family there.
I do. Thank you. So to go back to your first question, what happened was, like you said, nearly 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate, which was stored illegally by Hezbollah at the port of Beirut, was detonated. They don't know what caused exactly the blast, but it took out a large portion of Beirut. But fortunately, and thank God, was that most of the impact was directed towards the water, but devastating effects on the city that did take the impact. It caused billions in damage, but most importantly, almost 220 people died as a result of the blast and the impact. Like you said, I have family in Beirut. My aunt actually was working at the port, and again, only by the grace of God, she had gone home early that day. And unfortunately, my story is not unique. Nearly everyone in the Lebanese diaspora has something along the lines of this story, and many of those, unfortunately, do not have a happy ending. So it's quite tragic, but the real victims are those who perished and their families.
Yeah, it is really, really tragic. And the 12 months that have passed since that explosion, can you tell us how Beirut and the country of Lebanon changed? What is life like now for people in Lebanon?
Sure. So I want to give you a little bit of a numbers for this. So about 60% of the country is now living in poverty. 70% are water insecure. 80% are food insecure. The Lebanese lira has devalued by 95%, and 100% of the country is exhausted by living in a country run by warlords and thugs. And so the humanitarian aspect of things has really declined in the past year. As we know, the economic crisis has been prolonged by political gridlock, but in the past year, it's really been exaggerated by the political crisis, the COVID pandemic, and a number of different crises such as the oil crisis, the food insecurity. And so that's the short term, of course. The long term is obviously more impactful when you have students not going to schools and people not getting the medicines they need. It creates a generation of Lebanese citizens that aren't healthy and aren't educated. And so the short term, it's very bad. Long term, it's even worse.
Yeah, and finally, we don't have a whole lot of time left, but you know, overall, how do you think this is going to play out? Do you think conditions will improve? And also, Sarah, what can we do to help?
I don't believe conditions will improve so long as the same 6 or 7 warlords are running the country for the past 30, 40 years. You have had the same Speaker of Parliament since 1992. That's disgraceful. And he's pointing fingers at individuals when he should be pointing to himself and his political party and those he's aligned with, including Hezbollah. When there's no change in the system and there's no accountability, nothing will happen. So until this class of politicians is disposed of, nothing will change. What we can do is continue supporting the Lebanese armed forces. That's a big initiative that has been pushed by In Defense of Christians. We also appreciate advocacy by Pope Francis and Cardinal Rai, who's the patriarch of the Maronite Catholic Church. And then obviously we need to continue supporting humanitarian efforts in Lebanon. IDC was very pleased to see the State Department and USAID announce an additional $98 million in humanitarian aid to Lebanon. I want to add that that does not go to the government, which was very important. It goes directly to NGOs and projects in Lebanon that are in desperate need of attention. So those combinations of things are more important than ever, and we definitely need to continue supporting our Christian brothers in Lebanon and our others.
No, Sarah, I wish we had more time to talk, but unfortunately we have to leave it right there. Sarah Bassil, Director of Communications and Outreach for In Defense of Christians. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.